Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome, everybody, to another amazing episode of Referrals Podcast. And I have to tell you, there was a little bit of drama in the Generosity Generation group recently. So we just finished up with March Magic. We had 1,542 people started, and 1,500 people. Like, how cool is that? And how fun is that? And I feel like it's almost like a Survivor or a marathon of unprepared people that start into March Magic. And, people fall off pretty quickly. Well, so we did the final tabulations, and we could not believe the final report. And we shouldn't have. We couldn't believe the final report because we had somebody, after all these challenges and all these points that you can accumulate. And the way you accumulate points is you watch the video all the way through. And I always put like some Easter eggs at the end of the videos every day. And then you do the activity, and you've got to post that in Facebook underneath a specific accountability block. So it says day one, report here. And so you've got to put it in there. And we also measure like who does it first. So whoever does it first, you get points for being first versus if you do it a day or two later. It's still good to do it a day or two later. You're not going to be as high in the ranking as the person who literally gets the video at 6 a.m. and has the activity done at 8 a.m. That person's going to get more points than the person who gets it done at 8 p.m. So we do all the tabulations, and we had a winner by one freaking point. So now, we have a pretty sophisticated spreadsheet for this. Mandy runs a pretty tight ship. And so I couldn't announce the winner without the second place because they were 1 point apart. Well, then the second place winner, by the way, the winner was Steve McIlvaine, who we are talking to today. And second place was Rob Howard, according to the spreadsheet. And so I told him on a recent, Zoom call and was just celebrating things. And Rob had this perplexed look on his face and just said thank you. And then he contacted us outside of it and was just like, man, I just think there might be something wrong because, I was later on doing some of these things, and some of the videos I didn't even get all the way through, and so on and so forth. And we're like, all right, what's going on? Well, we go back through in the spreadsheet, and a number got entered into his that, basically he went from second to not even in the top tier. But his honesty and integrity is pretty sweet here because we could have just kept moving on with a 1 point. But here's the thing: Steve won by dozens of points, not 1 point. But the drama was just terrific in the general. It was you could cut it with a knife. That it was just like Steve versus Rob, and it was this close and that kind of thing. And come to find out, like most drama, it's manufactured and not worth the worry. So that's the Generosity Generation drama, and we've got it all cleaned up and all solved up. But I have to tell you, we have a lot of fun in the Generosity Generation. And if you run your business by referral, if you want to be around a lot of like-minded, like-spirited people, join GenGen.com, JoinGen.com. It's our referral community. It's our communication community. It's our communication hub for our tribe of trust, the Generosity Generation. We'd love to have you. Join GenGen.com, answer 2 or 3 questions, and maybe we can refer you on the very same day. It has happened. Also, I've got to give a shout out to Amy. Amy sells real estate, Amy Knightley. And she just recently gave us a 5-star review of Referrals Podcast. She said, I listen to Referrals Podcast weekly, but I had a long drive and I decided to go back and listen to the very first episodes again. And wow, there is so much gold in those first episodes. And I want to say thank you to Amy. Thank you, Amy, for the 5-star review and the great rating and the great words of encouragement and appreciation. And I also like, listen, this might be me tooting my own horn a little bit, but this is me tooting Referco's horn. Is is there a podcast in the real estate world, in the business world, in the consulting world that has over 400 testimonials of their clients? This is going to be, we're going to be in the 430s, 440s, maybe 450s with this episode. And that's who we interview. Who do we interview? We interview our clients. And I don't know of any other one out there. I see a lot of them where they interview other authors, they interview other friends, they bring in like economists, but I don't know of anyone that has 400 people who are legit clients of the coach or trainer who is doing, like, where are all their case studies? Where's the proof? The proof is in the pudding. Like, that's what we say all the time here at Referco is the proof is in the pudding is like, we have people who are getting referrals and they are doing very well. And you know what? You don't have to listen to me. You get to listen to them about how they're doing it. And I want to point out a few people like Tara and Tara had some people that just pointed out, like, Michael, there's nobody that does testimonials, has all these testimonials, proven testimonials, like you do. And it got me to thinking, is like, I kind of was in my own little world just doing this podcast. And it's like, man, you're right. Like that everybody else is, they're talking about AI or they're talking about, they bring on some special speaker or whatever. You know what? We bring on special speakers. And I think my special speakers are better than their special speakers because they're real people getting real results that are telling real stories and they're getting real referrals. And doggone it, I think the spotlight should be on like Steve McIlvaine, not this lady who has an opinion on AI. I'm just saying, right? What we don't need in the world is more experts on nothing. We need more like super amazing people who are doing amazing things. And guess what? I think that we share these on Referrals Podcast. So that's me on my soapbox a little bit, but I just had to say. So thank you, Amy, for the wonderful words of appreciation and giving us lots of food for thought. And that leads us to an interesting dilemma that we had recently at Referco is we just had this guest on not too long ago. And we really had to go like, is there a time frame for when you have the guest on another time? Like, is there too much? Like, is there just, is it, do we just rename the whole show the Steve McIlvaine show if he continues to be interviewed here on the podcast? And like, why is he on today? He won the March Magic Challenge. Like, that's a humongous deal. And we just made the decision. It's like, no, it's like, that's real. And you know what? If he wins Summerfest, he'll be on again in Summerfest. If he wins November, he'll be on again at the end of November. If he does a killer event like he has been, he's going to be on again. How do you get on the Referrals Podcast? You know how you become on? You write a book using AI. Don't worry about having any of your own thoughts in it. Just write a book through AI. Just have AI write the whole book. Put your name on it. Use AI to create the cover, and then become an author. And then we'll put you on referral. No, that is not how you come on referrals. You know what you got to do? You got to implement. You've got to take action, and you've got to get referrals. And that's how you get on. And I'm just saying that's who our guests are. And that's what I get the opportunity today is I get to talk to my friend Steve McIlvaine, who is kicking butt with his business. So I'm excited to introduce today's guest, who was just on. Like it's almost like he came by the house Saturday, and we're having look at it's two Wednesday. We should have Steve over again. That guy's really cool. So he is a seasoned, like, why do we use the word seasoned? I'm just saying, he's a seasoned real estate professional with Keller Williams United in Falls Church, which serves both Virginia and the DC area. With more than a decade of experience, he's built a reputation for relationship first service, strong negotiation skills, and helping clients make wise wealth building decisions through real estate. He's done over $200 million in real estate, ladies and gentlemen. This guy knows what he's doing. You may remember Steve recently from episode 410, where we talked about his results after implementing the event mastery system. Well, he's back today to share about his implementation during the March Magic Challenge. He's not just an implementer, he's a champion. He is our challenge champion. Our challenge champion, you go back and look at Jana and Helena and some of the like we have some really impressive champions. Well, we have that opportunity today to talk to our March Magic Challenge champion. Welcome back, Steve McIlvaine.
Thank you, Michael. That was quite an introduction.
I'm telling you, it's just like, oh my gosh, Steve again? Like, uh-oh, what do we do? Is this okay? And it's like, it's our damn show.
That's
We're going to
right.
do it, and he earned it. So I do want to just and everybody needs to understand, like you do event mastery, you do networking mastery, you do time mastery, you do rituals, you do a lot of stuff within our environment. But I really want to kind of contain this conversation to the March Magic Challenge.
Okay.
And honestly, you're doing a lot of stuff right. And I have to ask, like what made you sign up for the March Magic Challenge? You have a rhythm in all these other different areas. Why even sign up in the first place?
Well, let me just take a step back. I mean, when I got involved with the Refer Code Gen community, I realized that I had found something that I'm going to be doing until I retire from real estate, meaning doing it on an everyday hardcore driving basis because I am an implementer and this system is all about implementation. It gives you the tools. And so with the March Magic, I did the Summer Fest challenge last year and it was great. It was a great reset in the summer. And so I thought, all right, well, I'm going to do it again. I know that these are daily actionable steps that are going to propel my business. And so that's why I took it.
Well, you were already pretty busy. That's why I asked. Is just like, did you really need to take on like a daily video? And just so everybody understands what the March Magic Challenge is that it is 30 days, including weekends. It is a 5 to 10 minute video from me explaining a referral generating strategy in one way or another under one of three pillars: self mastery, relationship mastery, or event mastery. Though I do prefer with the challenges to stay in self mastery and relationship mastery. And then I explain the strategy and then I give a call to action. It's like, all right, do this one little thing that fits with this video, and then they go do it. And then we have a reporting mechanism in the Gen group where we have a logoed graphic and people post. And what's funny is the first day we have 1,000 people comment. And then the fifth day we have 100 people comment. And the 15th day it's like 25 people comment. And then by the end it's like 5 people comment. It's life in a nutshell. It's the most beautiful thing ever in like how people stick to things or don't stick to things. Um, so, what were you hoping to get from March Magic?
Uh, I would say working on improving the self-mastery systems that I've started and have gotten pretty good at, and I know that I can always be improving. I knew that it would result in referrals, and I knew that it would be a way of loving on my my sphere, my community, my tribe. And so that's why I did it, and that's what I knew was going to happen, and it did happen.
So one of the things that makes a winner is consistency.
Mm.
Did you start out with a plan to make it consistent? Like I remember Helena, who won the March Magic Challenge last year. She put it in her calendar and she had it blocked off with a couple of reminders and she stuck to it. She just did it for that hour every single day and she put it in her calendar and had reminders to make sure that she did it. How did you manage that consistency? How did you win? What was your strategy to win?
Sure. Well, first of all, the email comes out about 5 a.m. And during my morning routine, I scheduled it in. And then I said, all right, because you don't know what the tasks are going to be. And then I said, all right, where during this day am I going to be able to accomplish this? And yeah, scheduled it into my calendar and into my thoughts and said, all right, I may have had a plan the day before, and based off of what the challenge was, I was going to tweak it a little bit. That's how.
Yeah. What do you use for a calendaring system? What do you use for a schedule?
Two things. I use the Time Mastery paper daily plan and then my Google Calendar.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I'm starting to move closer to the paper than I thought I ever would. Um, my wife, if she heard this, she would laugh because she's always wanted me to be more paper. But for appointments that are time sensitive and location, they always go on the Google Calendar because they remind me. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I am more diligent with the paper than I am the Google Calendar.
I hate to admit it. I do the exact same thing. So I use Google Calendar and the iCal together, because you can mesh them. And then I am a paper guy. I run on paper. I literally write, like my first thing is a pro launch and it's actually paper where I can write on it and then wipe it off. But
Yeah,
I'm a writer and for some reason I just get more done when I can check things off and
right.
and write them. So I definitely get it. All right, so you're going through, and you may not know this, but I try to start easy, because we're learning a new habit. And
Mhm.
the first one is like to go to the group and post like, why are you, I always believe in starting with why. Why are you doing this? And so people type out why they're doing it. And then it's like I actually go 7 days, right? So at the seventh day, it's pretty hard. I have like, remember in college they have classes where they're called cut classes. They take 100 teachers, and by the end of that class, there's now 70 teachers because
Right.
30 have been weeded out from a really tough job.
Yep.
It's kind of like the Navy SEALs, retreat stuff. And so that's kind of the methodology. Is I kind of do it every 7 days. It's like,
Hmm.
kind of, it's like easy, easy, a little bit harder, a little bit harder, a little bit really hard, right? Like calling 10 people. That's hard. That really is hard. It's going to take you an hour, you know, and then I have it easy, easy, and then kind of harder, 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 then bam, and, so, like, as you were getting started, were you finding that it was pretty easy to complete the task, or were you feeling like it was just challenging literally from the get-go because it was all new?
I think because I took Summerfest Challenge, I had a little bit of a feel for what to expect. I would say that probably 10 of them, 10 to 15, maybe close to half were more challenging, but
Hmm.
nothing that required me to, perspire or anything like that. Well, it wasn't anything like
You
that.
gave me a good idea right there, Steve. For the
Yeah,
summer fest, I'm gonna have like
20
you're gonna go to
pull-ups,
the local park and do the obstacle course, right?
20
Or you have to
pull-ups.
do 100 push-ups or something. I'm
Yeah,
gonna add one that makes them sweat. Now,
there
thank
you
you for
go.
that. Thank
There
you for
you
that.
go.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I love it. Literally makes you sweat. So what was the hardest challenge throughout the whole process? What was the day that nearly kicked your butt?
The networking one, because I was so busy at when that one came up of, all right, what are you going to do? What networking event are you going to do this week? And I just thought, gosh, how do I find time for that? And Michael, honestly, I chose this one and I wasn't actually able to go. And I felt horrible about it. And I didn't contact the host beforehand. I just didn't get around to it. And so I did a mea culpa afterwards. And I set up an amazing one-to-one with this guy who runs a construction company. And he's going to be coming to my upcoming event, the We event. And we had a great conversation, but it was amazing how if we're real with people and we say, hey, I made a mistake and I wanted to respect your time and I didn't, they were almost apologizing for me for apologizing to them. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. All right. So what was your favorite challenge?
Um, Without a doubt, it was the helping people one. So there's the Good Samaritan Day, and
Mm-hmm.
there was one that was just about helping people. And so I've been teaching to realtors and to people in my church the Crown financial model for spending and saving and investing. And it really timed well because I was able to offer extra help to people. And then the Good Samaritan Day, there was one of my a friend from church who's also trying to buy a house is in between jobs, and I've been working on connecting her to a pretty high C-suite person with a company that she's interested in. And so it hasn't panned out just yet, but I think that she's going to get an interview from it. And that was
That's
super cool.
that's awesome. That's connecting at its highest, right? And invariably what happens when you end up doing that is they end up getting the job, they're in the job 6 months, and then you get this call you think is from nowhere that
Mm,
says we need to buy a house. And in the I think forever people just thought referrals happen out of the blue or repeat or sphere, they just happen out of the blue or out of left field or just randomly. And that everything we've researched is that's not true. Everything we've researched is that there was something in your life that you did before
mhm.
that triggered that. It just didn't happen immediately. It
Right.
happened eventually. And what we've discovered is that these proactive acts of generosity, they do reciprocate. It just we don't know when that is going to happen. So that's what I think is going to happen here. I think you help somebody get a really good job, and it tends to recycle back, and you're helping the
Yeah.
employer get somebody that's really really strong as well. One of my favorite things to do is connect great people to people that are hiring. I just did this
Yeah.
with Old Republic Home Protection, and it's just like oh my gosh, that's a really good match. And so I love that you did that. What was
Yeah.
what was the most impactful challenge for you?
I think those two really were, but the other one was Call a Joe Day. That made people's day, and I didn't just call one; I called a whole bunch, and even people who have variations of that name.
Mhm.
And this one guy, Joe D, um, he was so appreciative of it. And at the end of the conversation, he goes, I know you helped Bob sell his house a couple years ago, and my mom, I want to move her out to West Virginia, and I'm definitely going to drop your name, and you're going to sell her house, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. That's
Yeah,
not necessarily the intent of the
right.
National Day of Joe call, right? And it's going to be different next year, just so you know. I think we're going to
Okay.
go Michael. No, I'm
All
kidding.
right.
That's too self-serving.
That is
So
pretty
yeah,
self-serving. St.
it
Patrick.
really, everybody be calling me, right? It's like, hey,
Yeah.
what's up? So maybe we'll do Steve or Stefan or Steven
Oh, there
or
you
any
go.
variation of Steph. So Stephanie would even fill the bill there. Um, so okay, and then all right. So you're going through and you
Hmm.
go through the 30 days. What 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 did you notice about yourself, or what did you kind of discover through doing 30 days consistently?
I think finishing is a big deal. I think that in our industry, you see it all the time where I mean, in my office, there's 200 plus agents, and like 3% of them are selling most of the houses.
Hmm.
And you see people just give up. And I've always been someone that just is an overcomer. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened in life, and I just I was like, I'm gonna finish. That's a big thing for me is finishing. Finishing's important because it's tied to integrity, and with my kids, uh, I always want to be able to stand in front of them and say, my words, my bond, this is what I said I would do and do it. But the implementation too is it's one thing to finish, it's another thing to finish and implement and accomplish something. So
Hmm.
that was a big deal. And I think it certainly propelled my business. Probably got five. I know I got five referrals. I might have gotten six. I have to tie it back. But I also was able to give out 10 to vendors during these calls.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and you go back to the whole, finish what you start and completion. Rest in peace, Lou Holtz, Coach Lou Holtz. I'm a football coach and have always followed sports and sports coaches. And Lou Holtz had basically the three ingredients to success. Number one was be on time. Number two is do what you say you were going to do. And number three was finish what you start. And just if you can do those three things, you're going to be a success in this life. And I just love that how simple it is. And what's funny is it's simple and how many people don't do it. Like
Yep.
that's especially the finish what you start. That may be well, doing what you said you're going to do. That's also pretty challenging for a lot of people. Oh, wait, being on time seems to be a challenge too. No wonder realtors don't get referrals. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Like it's low hanging fruit for us people that are going to be on time, do what we say we're going to do, and finish what we start. Now that like I said, those are easy to say, maybe harder to finish. But so as you went through, it sounds like it was productive, right? Then my next
Yep.
question was, what were the results? So any other results besides maybe five or six new referrals and clients and handing out ten to the vendors and other people. So, and your ratio is interesting, right? You were 2 to 1 with outgoing to incoming.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. What else? The idea the I think I have a overall generous heart, but sometimes, during the day you kind of forget that and you're moving forward and you're trying to, feed your family and you're trying to, you know, move to you're dealing with the transactions and all that. But to be able to just interject in the middle of the day, purposely helping people was really cool.
Mm.
Very, very cool. And quite honestly, was that and just blessing the people who had the name Joe.
Mm.
They Everybody loved that. They just loved it. So
Maybe we do more of those next year. Like
yeah.
this is the first time, like Helena didn't say anything about that day, which I found interesting last year when we interviewed her.
Mhm.
Um, but what's interesting too about the 30-day challenge is like you've picked four or five, and Jana, the winner in 2021, she picked a different four or five. Like her favorite was creating the Facebook group and what was the other thing? She was it was basically like adding five people a day or adding a
Yeah.
person a day. And, she ended up, her Crown Point Neighbors Helping Neighbors group is like 60, 70,000 now, people now. And it is its own city. In fact, the mayor of Crown Point like asked to be a member of this online city that they basically have. So,
Wow.
very, very powerful. And so it is interesting that different challenges within the challenge hit people in different ways, different years. So love that. So, what would you say if somebody's like, I want to win Summerfest? What suggestions would you give to them to put them in the best position to win one of these 30-day challenges we do?
You have to make the decision to finish.
Hmm.
You can't just willy-nilly it. You got to say, all right, I am going to finish. I may not do it perfectly. I'm not going to do it perfectly, but I am going to finish. The second
Oh, wait,
thing,
wait, wait. I have to say something on that. We've never had a perfect winner. We've never had 100% winner of any of our challenges. So now I will say with November, we do have a guy, Dave DeBryan in Michigan, who is a legend in the handwriting note or handwritten note world, who writes 1,500 notes in 30 days when you're supposed to write 30 notes.
wow.
So that I would call that like a 100% winner. But our Summerfest and March Magic, we've never had it where everybody gets a perfect or anybody gets a perfect score. We've never had it. And I think it might even be very close to impossible. So that shouldn't even be their goal is to do 100%, but it's to give 100%, like you were saying, is, give 100% and do your best and forget the rest, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
And then you just work, you put a plan in place and you work the plan. And then it has to be part of your lead generation strategy. It can't be secondary because you're probably not going to get it done.
Hmm.
Because these are all lead gen things for the most part. Some of them are working on yourself, but working on yourself also is making you better for other people, way you show up.
For sure. All
Yeah.
right. So, anything else to share? Any words of wisdom? Somebody's considering doing a March Magic Challenge or a Summerfest Challenge or a November. Like, what would you suggest, or what words of wisdom do you have for them?
I'd say have fun with it. Expect that your business will be different. Don't know how it's going to be. Don't set that expectation of exactly how your business is or yourself is going to be different, but know it will. And I really do believe that finishing it's a big topic that, I mean, it's talked about in the Bible. 70% of the people in the Old Testament did not finish well. And I want to be someone that, that finishes well. Uh, and that's a high charge. And so, for the people who are doing this, be like, if they have a challenge with finishing, then this is an opportunity for them, a finite 1 month of commitment. And that's a cool thing. And it can be changing for them.
That's a really great point because there is this Japanese concept that's become very popular in the real estate world and honestly in business called the Misagi. And the Misagi challenge is to take on something really tough and finish it. An event, hosting an event is a Misagi. Like, there's a step, there's a process. A marathon is a Misagi. A 5K for some people might be a Misagi, but it's not hard enough. It's not torturous enough. It's not deep enough like a 5K. You can walk a 5K, right? You can't walk a marathon. Like you're going to have to figure out parts of it to run just so you can finish, during the day. So like, an event, that's why we do event mastery in 7 or 8 weeks is it's a Misagi. Like it's like we got to do these tough things on a weekly basis, and then at the end we get to celebrate. And that's another thing people get confused about Misagi. Misagi has a negative connotation in some places. It's gotten a more positive connotation recently because of Gary Keller and others, that it's a it doesn't have, some people, it's like Misagi meant torturous
Mm,
challenge. And it was, there's some, it's kind of like the Navy SEAL thing, is basically if you don't die, you survive and you are in. It doesn't have to be like that. It can
right.
be more positive, but it has to be hard. And that's what is interesting about the real estate world is, the people who don't understand that this is hard, or as soon as it gets hard, they just give up, are not surviving. Like, they might still have their license and they might still be at the brokerage, but they're not doing any transactions. They're literally not doing, because you've got
Yeah.
to work harder, search harder, go harder, do a little bit more. You've got to be willing to go 110% in this market and in this situation. And some people aren't willing to do that hard. So a 30-day challenge, like you said, is like, make that your Misagi. Like, make that like, I'm not quitting real estate until July 31st. I'm going to do Summerfest or whatever it is, and I'm going to do it every day. And then I'll make my decision on August 1st, whether real estate is for me or not. So do the Masagi, do the hard thing, and then see what you're like on the other end. And if you don't make it, analyze what got in your way. What is it? And just like, pick a Masagi, pick a thing that, and you're like, well, hanging out with my kids that's not a Masagi. Spending time with my family, that's not a Masagi. Like, you're like, you might be, that's my why though. And it's like, well, here's the thing about a why is, do the 30-day challenge and finish it for your children, for your family, to be a model, to be an example, and to probably get the business that's going to come from it. So, you can't just do the easy stuff. Then well, life's about family. It's like, I understand that, but you're not going to hang out with your family all day long, right? And somebody's needs to make an income for your family, and you be it. You be the one that does it. So I think
Yeah.
you hit on a really, really important point there that's missing. Real estate's really easy to get into. It's also really easy to get out of.
Hmm.
you know? So I love that. That's wisdom shared right there. And it's the truth. Is finish what you start. Finish well. Have fun doing it and then finish well and finish what you're going to start. And I literally wrote the word down, finish, finishing. And, in the Old Testament, not all of them finished well. Like 70% did not finish well, 30% finished well. I am
Yep.
going to finish well,
That's
you
right.
know. And I think that's a really, really good point. And you're nailing it. Yeah.
And I think too, we not that March Madness is hard. I'm not saying that, but we have to embrace the hard in
Mhm.
life. And I know for me that I John Maxwell wrote a good book, Today Matters, and he says that there's like 12 decisions, the daily dozen, the decisions that we make in life. And one of them is about your health. And I probably made the decision on my health later than I would want to. And so it's always been a challenge. And so last year, I was like, all right, I'm going to get to 7,500 steps daily. And I did it for like 8 or 9 months. And then I said, all right, now I'm going to go to 10,000. And it was interesting. I didn't share the journey until recently on Facebook. And one of the ways I shared about it was a struggle that I was having. And people were just, uh, they were really touched by it and they were really inspired by it. And so, you show up to do one thing and you become a finisher at it, it overflows into other areas big time.
It really does, because we have a success anchor. And that's one of the problems, like, that a lot of, I mean, like, is in today's world, it's like, well, you join a baseball team and then the kid halfway through goes, well, I don't want to play baseball anymore. And the parents let them quit. And it's
Mm.
like, we really need to teach them, no, you're going to finish the season because you committed to the team, right? You're not going to quit on the team. You're going to finish it. But parenting has gotten a lot softer. Trust me on that. I have the scars on my butt to prove it, right? But it's one of those where, I mean, what we all need to do. One of the ways we can get through a challenge is recall when we got through a challenge before, when we were
Right,
faced with a adversity or whatever it may be, and then but we got through it.
right,
And that's I think what you talk about with like the walking, and then getting through like a Summerfest or something like that is you now have that when you have a tough transaction, right? Instead of quitting, or instead of like ignoring the client until it closes, dear, just because you don't want to face the music of the conversation, you do have the conversation, and you do finish that transaction, and then you get paid on the transaction. Or when you're following up with someone and they don't call back, and instead of giving up, you're like, no, I'm literally gonna talk. I'm gonna call this person until they tell me not to, or they die, right? Or they buy. And like a thing that we really have to have is where we can recall back, where is a place that we persevered, and where we showed resilience, and then we can apply it to anything in our life. You know,
right, right.
you know what we need? We need a new Rocky movie. I think that's
Oh,
what we really
yes,
need.
yes,
I
yes,
mean, just
yes.
Rocky Four and
Hey, I'm from Philly.
the workout montage, right? Where he's running in the snow and all. Like the kids these days, they've never seen a Rocky movie.
Mm.
They've never seen, like, what is today's Rocky movie? I'll tell you what it is. It's a video game where you die over and over again and you have unlimited lives. Well, we
Mm.
don't have unlimited lives.
No.
We have one.
Boy,
So,
that's good.
right? So the thing is, oh, I lost my main character. And it's like, restart. I have my main character back, right?
Right,
Where's the resilience in that? What if you
right.
only got one life in that video game and you could never play the video game again? That's life, bro,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
So, I mean, it's a different world, and we've got to prepare ourselves for it for sure. But
I love that analogy. My gosh, I never thought about that.
they're different. Our kids are different. I mean, with the phone in their hand. I mean, a phone is a part of the body at this point. It
Yeah.
is it is an appendage of the body, more important than most of the other appendages. So, um, it's an interesting world, and I'm glad we talked about this because that's the spirit of the March Magic Challenge and the Summerfest Challenge. Is I'm going to do something for 30 days and stick to it. I don't make it impossible. I don't. There are no impossible days. None of them.
But you could make it with that outdoor challenge.
I could make it. No, I mean, anybody can do 100 push-ups.
Yeah.
It just might be that you have to do 10 and rest a while and then do 10 and
Mhm.
then do 10 and then, or the really in shape person is punching out 100 push-ups, right? But either way, it's just 100 push-ups.
Right.
And, there's other things we could do on that. I'm really psyched up about this new Summerfest challenge you've helped me start to create in my head.
Yeah.
Uh, we're making them sweat. I mean, I literally wrote down, make them sweat in Summerfest. So,
And have a Steve day, as you said.
that's right. That might be next March. That might be next March. So there's no day in July. There is actually a Call a Joe Day. Like that's
Right.
an actual thing. Um, and it's not like I invented any of this stuff. I got it off some national day, calendar at some point way back when. That's what I love about the challenges. I get to pick all these things from I'm a researcher. I just love taking these things out of different places. So, but anyway, I mean, first and foremost, like congratulations, Steve, on, everything you're doing. The events you're doing. You have an incredible wine tasting event coming up very, very soon. What we'll most likely need to have you back on because you're doing it at a very unique venue. You're doing it at your house. So there's a lot of people in Gen Gen and outside Gen Gen who have considered doing an event at their house, but maybe there's been some stoppers, and you can help them kind of get through those challenges as well. So, and everything, like you're on every Zoom, you're participating in everything, you're mastering things, and I think the March Magic Challenge honestly is just a microcosm of your commitment to the entire referral mastery system. And I just want to say congratulations and express my appreciation for your implementation.
Thank you. Great to be here with you, as always.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right there. Our March Magic Challenge winner, 1,542 people started, and one rose to the top with a very close to perfect score. And guess what it took? It took daily commitment. It took some time commitment. It took a little bit of research. It took the aspect of I am not stopping until I finish. It
Yeah.
was all about finishing and finishing well. And that leads us to this part of the podcast. We're going to finish well right now. And Steve, thank you once again for being our guest here on Referrals Podcast again.
Hey, I appreciate it. I'm happy to do it again. That means I'm doing something right.
Very good. And ladies and gentlemen, we are on the road to 1 million downloads. We are well on our way, over 700,000 downloads at this point. And it's because of you. You guys listen to us. You watch us on YouTube. You've downloaded us on iTunes. Some of you have this auto download on iTunes. I really appreciate that. I hope you're listening to it and watching it as well. And I know what our next podcast is, and you're going to want to make sure you subscribe. You want to make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. And then also, if you like what you heard today, rate us, review us, just like Amy did. When you do it, put your contact information in the review so that we know who to refer and we know who to thank for writing that review. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time on Referrals Podcast.